Today we're going to make a media console. I'm going to make the legs for the media console out of 2-inch angle iron that I'm going to cut with my jigsaw using a metal cutting blade. I clamp the angle iron to my workstation and then cut each flange one at a time. I'll put lengths and measurements on my website. The corner where I cut the angle iron is a little bit rough. Ideally, I would sand this down with an angle grinder and a flat disc, but an orbital sander can get it done in a pinch. I applied some cutting oil to lubricate the drill bit and then drilled holes through the angle iron where I'm going to screw through to the 2x4s. I first drilled smaller holes for the screws to pass through and then drilled larger holes part of the way through so that I could countersink the screws. I cleaned up the angle irons with some mineral spirits. The shells for the console are made out of a 2x12 that I got from Home Depot. I just cut 2 pieces the same length. I then cut 4 pieces of 2x4 that are as long as the 2x12 is wide. I measured 8 inches in from either end of the 2x12 and then used my circular saw to cut notches for the angle irons. It's important that the notches line up, so I used the first board that I cut to mark the location for the second board. I used an orbital sander to sand all the wooden pieces. Now I don't want the screw heads to show in the top of the wooden shelves, and I only had 3.5-inch long screws, which wouldn't be long enough to go all the way through the 2x4 and into the 2x12s. So what I did is I drilled some larger holes through the bottom of the 2x4s so that I have less of a distance for the 3.5-inch screws to go. Now the inside corner of an angle iron has a little bit of a curve to it, so I used my Kiwi knife to carve down the edge of the slot so that it would fit nice and flush. I finished the wooden pieces with a coat of Danish oil. I started with the top shelf and flipped it upside down before inserting the angle irons. I used some clamps to help push the angle irons in place before screwing through the holes that I drilled and into the 2x4s. And now for the fun part. I've been really into vinyl lately, and I got this awesome new turntable from U-Turn Audio. It's very minimal and clean looking and has this really thick acrylic disc that I like. The speakers are from Audio Engine. I picked these ones because they're easy to set up but have really high quality sound. I used some nail-in cord clips to manage all the cords along the backside of the console. I really like this setup. It's sort of the best of both worlds. I get the warm, authentic sound of vinyl, but also with modern features and aesthetics. Seriously though, how cool is this turntable? The console itself is sturdy enough to use as a bench, and versatile enough to be used for other media applications as well. For more detailed instructions, check out my website, and if you want to see what I'm working on next, be sure to follow me on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thanks, bye.